Here lies the memory of the Nito exorcists. Loved by not enough people? Yeah, I'm still grieving. Don't look at me like that. You canceled my precious baby and you just expect me to move on like I didn't care? Well, on to the next one. So, now I'm back out here again, scavenging, searching, looking for something, anything that actually stimulates the senses again. Because on this journey, I started to notice a pattern that made me pretty pissed. Very specific, very rage-inducing pattern. All of these titles started blending together, leveling my hero that reincarnated into a max-level villain with a system in another world with my girlfriend who is secretly the Demon King but also my sword. What are we doing? At some point, it stopped being titles and started being full-on plot summaries. Reading platforms need a word filter immediately. Like, I should be able to type in certain words so they won't pop up anymore and cleanse my search. Oh, and real quick, I want to give a thanks to WEBTOON for sponsoring this video. While I was digging through the temple of who's reading this shit, I found something. 50 years ago, a meteor crashed. Not just anywhere, dead center in the middle of a desert. No warning, no explanation, just something from outside landing exactly where it shouldn't. And instead of backing away from it like any sane civilization would, we do what every greedy corporation does, and that is the world powers came together to build a prison on top of it, because of course they do. A researcher claims that this place, Fogland, has essentially opened the gates of hell. Not metaphorically, not, oh, this is kind of dangerous, no, hell. And instead of sealing it off, destroying it, they decide, yeah, let's send people in there. Not just inmates, this time teachers. This is where we meet the main character of our story, Dante. And Dante is naive about the specific situation he is in, or he's about to get into. He genuinely believes that people inside the prison are there because they lacked opportunity, that if they were given the right environment, the right guidance, the right education, they could change. See, if we were talking about normal scenarios, he'd be on to something, but again, this situation's a little different. So what does he do? He tries to teach them how to grow sweet potatoes, because in his mind, something as simple as growing food can teach patience, responsibility, the value, more specifically the value of life, of effort, building something instead of destroying it. And that sounds like a pretty good idea, until it goes to shit immediately, because the inmates have other motives for being there. They start to become unsettled and Dante reasonably asks for security, but the guards immediately start shooting. Dante protests, but then quickly finds out why their mindset is shoot first, think later, because the inmates of this prison are no longer human. Crazy book, by the way. And just when things couldn't get worse, Dante gets kidnapped, which sounds like the worst possible outcome until you realize this specific inmate actually wants to learn how to grow sweet potatoes. Out of everything happening in this prison, this absolute nightmare of a place as you'll learn, this one character latches onto the idea of farming like it's the most important thing in the world. We'll get more to his character in a bit, because fan favorite of mine. You would think the easiest thing to do would be to just tell one of the guards who could verify his identity and quickly get him out of there, but the issue is, there are no guards in this prison. Again, the prison is the largest in the world, large enough to be a civilization of its own. The series is called Fogland, and right now it doesn't have a lot of chapters, which honestly works in its favor. It's easy to catch up, but more importantly, it actually doesn't waste time rushing things. That's something I appreciated immediately, because instead of speedrunning character development like a lot of manhwa do, where chapter 1, the main character already has gone through trauma, growth, enlightenment, and even if it's not in chapter 1, there's always that specific chapter where they montage all of the interesting stuff, and from that point on, the series fails to hold on to any tension it once had. This takes a step back. Good song, by the way. You're learning about the world with Dante. And quick side tangent, it's such an important thing where it feels like you're learning about the world along with the protagonist or with the characters of the story. It makes you feel like you're actually there instead of learning it through exposition dumps. You learn it piece by piece along with the perspective you are following. Dante's motivations as a character get explained around chapter 3, and normally I'd feel like, alright, it's a little quick, but here it doesn't feel cheap and rushed. It feels like a starting point where now we can focus on how his character is going to change throughout the story in comparison to his odd buddy that is shrouded in mystery. Speaking of, we get properly introduced to his name, which is 182. 182 is adorable, wholesome in a way that adds a lot of entertainment to the reading experience, creating a fun dynamic that will also have its fair share of issues. You've got Dante, someone who's clearly idealistic, trying to apply logic and morality to a place that doesn't really follow either. And then you got 182, strong, shrouded in mystery, but how do I word this nicely? Simple-minded, which Dante will exploit in order to survive and escape. Before that though, Dante comes off a bit dumb himself since he truly fails to capture the horrid position he finds himself in. You would think after seeing the massacre and being kidnapped that he wouldn't be so keen to talk to people here, but he is desperate and has the survival instincts of a snail. Because of that, the story escalates rather quickly. One of the Shoulders shows up. Shoulders being these high-level inmates that clearly operate on a different level. And this one in particular is known as the Tower. First thing I thought when I saw him, the Lakers could use a center. I'm not even kidding. And then I scrolled down and someone in the comments said the exact same thing. So clearly we're all on the same wavelength here. But jokes aside, this is where another key element gets introduced outside of the Shoulders, and that's fog. See, fog in this world isn't just atmosphere, although for sure it is, and like they breathe in the fog, but that'll be more important later. It's currency, it's power, and it's really status. It's also not hard to put 2 and 2 together and see that the color of the inmate's eyes and the fog has a connection. The more you read, the more you will learn about fog and its full effects, but for now the Tower needs Dante to make fog, since for some reason the prisoners think teachers are omniscient beings. Dante is not, nor is he an advanced scientist, simply a high school teacher. So since he can't be of any help, he can die. But 182 steps in, saves Dante, and is clearly powerful enough to garner a lot of attention, so from that point onward the dynamic is locked in, they need each other. Dante, now aware of the situation he is in, realizes he's going to have to use all of his brain power to make it out alive. He starts manipulating situations, playing 182 like a fool, all for the one goal in mind: escape. While everything around them is moving towards something larger, other Shoulders hunting them, power struggles forming, and the idea of Supreme Leader sitting in the background, which I'm excited to see if there is a current Supreme Leader. What I like the most about Fogland right now is the tension. It doesn't ease up, and I hope it stays that way. Even after 182's power is shown, which normally that would kill the sense of danger, the story finds a way to balance it through the fog system. I wish I could go deeper into what fog actually is, how it works, where it comes from. My theory at first was it was tied to the meteor. Whether or not that's true, you'll have to read and find out for yourself. But again, yes, go please, read it for yourself, because the mystery is part of the appeal. There's a lot of upside here. Dante has room to grow, 182 has layers that haven't been fully explored yet, and the layout having to move through sectors, deal with the different Shoulders, navigate a system that clearly has its own rules, it sets up a lot of possibilities. Also, I cannot stress this enough to y'all, 182 is dope. One of the most fun characters I've come across in Manhwa in a long time. I don't really have that usual early skepticism, you know, that feeling where you're reading something and you're like, yeah, this is good, but when's the fall off happening? That feeling hasn't happened. I like the world, the premise, the characters. Most importantly, I want to see where it goes. If you like stuff like Corpse Knight Gunther, I can definitely see this being up your alley. You can check out Fogland over on WEBTOON, and if you do, go ahead and leave a comment over there, let them know I sent you, because if this ends up getting cancelled too, I might actually lose it.